Okay, so now we go two levels deeper on what is really going on below. So let's talk about differentiation because we always kind of talk about OTTs, us, contextual. So I'll talk about concrete points on differentiation. The first one is how do we differentiate ourselves? By integration to the network, which means today when you are over a WhatsApp and you get a PSTN call, you do not really see anything and the call gets blocked and the PSTN overrides it. We would be able to differentiate that by deep integration. Second, today if you have a SMS or iMessage, you are unable to send it to WhatsApp. We would be able to do that. And that is possible because of the deep integration of the message environment and of the network. That's the first thing. And this is not easy because actually a lot of people have forgotten what SMS is like and what the network flows are. So we are going back in and trying to make sure that we have full integration. Then the second thing is data. And we have a lot of data. As telcos, I think we have so much of data that we cannot even imagine. Now the question is, most of this data is withheld within applications in our IT stack. And I'll just give you an example of the data we have. This is all the data we carry today. You may say that these are all prepaid markets. How come that you have such an accurate data? In most of our markets, Pakistan, Ukraine, Bangladesh, Russia, we have gone through re-verification processes. In Pakistan, actually, we have a biometric ID as well on top of the data we have from the customer. So all this data is there with us today. How do we use that data? How do we make it completely contextual? To Christopher's point, I think that is the knowledge which we have, and we are deploying that. The third one, as Johnny mentioned, IT backends are owned by us. A lot of people just run away from the backend. Say, no, that's an IT thing, let's not touch it. Actually, we are going to overhaul the whole thing because as in the future, number of transactions increase exponentially, we will need systems which are able to interact real time all the way from the data to the product. And that is what we have undertaken, a complete overhaul of all the IT systems. So you understand that this application, platform, below what is happening. Now let me just kind of start with a vision. Why do we want to become a tech company? Because if you want to be a platform, you need to be a tech company. You cannot be a telco. Because if you would be a telco, we would have a siloed infrastructure. You can never make a product out of that. Second, in a telco, generally, there are not a lot of software skills. They are more vendor managers, if you may, and heavy dependence on system integrators. That's what telcos are like. But our vision is to come out of that and to be having an architecture which is for a purpose. Microservices-based architecture. Whether it is the ID, whether it is payment, like Christopher was showing. You want to pay a restaurant, you need a microservice ID. It goes straight in, plugs in the data, you pay, you move on. Second one is we are building our software team in Amsterdam, in London. So these teams, they are capable of coding in one of the most interesting languages, I call that, which is Erlang. And that has extremely good efficiency when it comes to exponential transactions per second. And the third one is the front end, which we were seeing. Now, whether it is a web, or whether it is a retail, or the application, the whole platform, the front end, we want it under our control. It's full on open source, but we want to customize it so that we can differentiate our customer journey from others. So I will just run through a simple way of demonstrating what we are building. And this, what we are building, is not in one country, not in one geography, because we are doing this across all the 11 geographies and Wintray as well. We are applying the same architecture. Network, we are modernizing networks. I'll come to that. IT stack, as I explained, that we are changing the whole IT. Data management platform. This is actually one of the key pillars for us, where we can ingest the data, we can parse it, and we can run algorithms in a way that we can make a difference. So if we want to know how the segment of one will work like, the knowledge will sit here in the data management platform. We expose that in microservices. For example, payment, ID, customer care. And you can define further based on profile. And then we expose further into APIs where we can connect ecosystems and enable new businesses, taxi hailing service. We can talk about music, we can talk about content, and that all then becomes possible. So I'll focus on network for a bit so that everyone understands why we say that we are at a very, very solid network pace of modernization. Because we are thinking in the future networks. We want to decouple hardware and software. Today, what's happening? Telco is the only industry, I would say, left where hardware and software are coupled together. And of course, there is a reason which is given of performance. I don't believe in that. Actually, the moment you decouple, you can scale much, much faster. You don't need to invest in every geography the same amount. You can use commodity hardwares in a much, much more efficient way. And then on top of that, we want to also pool. So hence the licenses will not be stuck between a zone in a country. It can scale all across geographies. So hence you don't need to buy license in every place. And that is the way to think. Modernizations and sharing. I think network sharing has been there for quite some time, but not really in a very intense manner. We are taking that to the next level. So what have we modernized? What have we done? There are 6 countries we have launched LTE, new countries, last year. So you can see we have done that in Algeria, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. All that in 1 year. We have signed network sharing deals in Kazakhstan, and it's already in motion. And it's not only on a 4G layer, it's on 2G and 3G layer as well, so that we can remove cost out. We can consolidate. Pakistan, it's a huge consolidation exercise going on, where we will deinstall a lot of redundant sites and take off cost and reap out the synergies much, much faster. Russia, we have expanded our network sharing. And Shell will talk more. And this gives us a reach to the customer in a much, much more smarter and a cost-efficient manner. Meanwhile, you can see the LTE population which we are serving has increased by 70% and more. So which means that we are doing all this at a pace which is record pace within 1 year. And then for us, modernization and swap, there are 2 purposes. We want to be future ready, LTE and beyond. But not only that, I think for us what is important is to remove structural cost. Because the moment you modernize and swap, you take away a lot of dormant real estate cost, electricity cost, maintenance cost, simplification cost, everything, you just take them out. Headcount, training, everything. And we have swapped out 25,000 sites last year across our geography. This year, we are planning to swap another 35,000 sites, roughly. So we would be 2/3 of sites across our geography swapped out within 2 years. An example here is of Ukraine. We started the swap, if I remember, in January last year. By June this year, we would be done, 10,000 sites. Not only that, we would be 4G ready, so whenever we get the 4G license, we can switch it on. CapEx to revenue in Ukraine has come down to 15% and sub. And now we are talking about urban sites with 60% of fiber connectivity. So we have a network of the future. This is not network of the past where we just talk about single RAN, but we talk about single RAN straight with the fiber connectivity backend. I've heard a lot about virtualization, but honestly, there are very, very few groups which are taking virtualization the way we are doing it. We have implemented virtualization in 5 countries on the EPC, Enhanced Packet Core. It's extremely important because that is where most of the data traffic goes. We are now adopting a strategy which is comprehensive across, which means the infrastructure layer will be commoditized with proper secure metrics, and then we will virtually have applications running over that. Whether it is EPC, Enhanced Packet Core, whether it is Content Server, or whether it is HLR, which is called the Subscriber Data Manager. Our first HLR going virtual is in Bangladesh. And the way we do that is we start in a very prudent manner. We install, we go with our own employees testing phase for at least 2 months. Beyond that, we move to a cluster of subscribers, friendly subscribers, and then we scale up, and we want to do this within the next year. This year and next year, we would like to virtualize across all countries. And what this would do to the financials, we'll be able to take out cost, and we will be able to stop investment in legacy core, which was huge, which was 20% of our CapEx at a given time. So then you can see why we are reaching a CapEx of 17.4 last year, and where we are going to be hitting 15.5% this year. And the reason is because we believe in modernization. And we want to do it at a very fast pace so that we can take out dormant technologies. For example, there's no reason to invest in 3G capacity anymore right now. Doesn't make sense. Second, very, very important thing of CapEx discipline for us is there is no CapEx which is allocated. It is prioritized on a quarterly basis. It's a very, very stringent process, but fully transparent. Fully transparent. Every company knows what's the allocation, and that can be changed on a quarter basis depending upon our growth or our initiative prioritization. Third one, which is very important for us, is quality of service. Because we are not just going to say that, okay, we dump some CapEx or we implement a lot of CapEx, but for me, what's important is customer perceives quality of service, NPS, throughput, latency, and the voice quality. And in all the metrics, we are doing very, very well. I'll demonstrate that to you now. Our 4G traffic increased by around 57%. And it's been going on, the overall 3G, 4G traffic. 4G traffic within that has also increased, which means the handsets are coming in the markets, which means our investments in 4G are going to start getting utilized much faster. And our performance, we are number 1 in 6 countries on the throughput. On top of throughput, I observe latency, because that is where the customer and the user experience would be. So whenever we'll run the VON video, that's going to be extremely important for us. Now I touch something which is absolutely unknown. I call that the IT, the traditional IT, which is this part. And trust me, a lot of people do not want to go there. A lot of groups try to touch one country or one system, either a CRM system or a BSS system. What we are taking is a clean sheet, state-of-art approach. And that is the reason we can develop a platform like VON. I'm not going to bore you, but this is how everything connects together. In 20 seconds, let me just try to explain. We have seen VON. All the behavioral analysis is done in the DMP, called the Data Management Platform. This is not bought. This we are building ourselves on open source. The red piece is how you make decisions. This is not what we are going to build by ourselves. This is what we are going to buy. So it's a mix of buy and build. Microservices is what we enable new economies in the future. And when it comes to the new digital stack, it allows us to connect all this together in a seamless manner. So what have we done? beyond you have seen, and I'm very, very proud of it. My team is very proud of it. Mobile financial services. We had Pakistan, we had Russia, we have launched Kazakhstan. We are almost ready because we need some regulatory clearances for Ukraine, and we are doing that in all the countries. And that would be an extremely big enabler for us to pay through the platform. Second one, data management platform. Where we were showing to our digital advisory board the first results of the data management platform in Russia, and very, very encouraging results. The way we can dig in the data and we can really take out the most relevant bits. Towards the customer, software development center, and here I think we have taken a very, very hard look, and I think it's been encouraged by Janiv, that in the future, more than 60% of the staff, which I would have, needs to be software experts. And my target is that by end of next year, that figure would go up to 80%. So 80% of Amsterdam, London technology team would be software-focused technology teams, because that is the foundation which we need to serve the platform. And the last but not the least, it's a huge exercise on taking the IT systems and making them even much more ready for the future with all the transactions per second which we are going to have. So 3 takeaways from this. Number 1, it's a state-of-art architecture. It is not one country based. It is ubiquitous across all countries. And number 3 for me is modernization at extremely fast pace so that we can deliver CapEx efficiency, at the same time take out dormant structural cost.